right, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Designated Players Podcast. We're on episode 6 now, and we are about to start to talk about the actual MLS season. Before we get to doing that, let's hit Scarf of the Week right now. Connor actually has his first scarf this week. Connor, what are you rocking?
I have my Atlanta scarf that I got from their first year. I think I got it before they played any game. I don't think there's anything on it about inaugural, but yeah, this is my one and only scarf that will probably be in every video now.
That's weird. I don't know why you choose to put garbage around your neck, but that's okay. Adam, what do you got today?
You.
I mean, they have more MLS Cups than the Red Bulls do, so.
Do not give them fuel.
Okay. I have the official scarf of Red Bull Arena on. So one side, I'll hold it up for the camera, is the lovely Red Bull logo. And on the other side is the NYCFC logo, because they both play at the same place now.
I love that.
Yeah, nice little Hudson River Derby scarf.
I love that. That's awesome. I am actually not rocking a scarf today because I have moved officially. I've moved house, and I am now rocking a Red Bull wall. So I'll move over so we can see I've got all 5 Red Bull scarves, soon to be added. Of course, I'm going to build onto that when I can. I've got my match day poster from RBNY NYCFC. I've got the, I guess it's like a neck warmer. I forget. I think I got that at a derby too. It's like a red neck warmer. It's got love, pride, passions, and like words all over it. And then I've got the LA Galaxy Red Bull in the Way of York poster there as well. So that's my new backdrop, and I'll start picking from that as the weeks go on. And then in front of me, I've also got a bunch of scarves, but that's the Red Bull wall. That's the new backdrop. So if you're watching this, you can see it. If not, go watch it so you can see it. Adam, I'm going to throw it over to you because you want to talk about a new rule you just found out
about. So apparently, and this is, I believe, an MLS exclusive thing, you can just call dibs on any player. And apparently that means you have first rights to sign them. So on behalf of everyone here at the Designated Players Podcast, I would like to officially call dibs on Messi, Ronaldo, and Neymar. I'm pretty sure that's how that works, right?
I have actually tried looking up all of this stuff, and I can't find anything. Like, there's something called a special discovery player, but that's the only thing I can find, and I don't know anything else about it.
Let me see if I can find it. I think it's like there are certain stipulations that a player has to meet in order for them to qualify for that rule. So I think it's basically teams can put a claim on a guy that they're not ready to sign yet, but they're not a homegrown, they're not a U20 player. Usually it's like allocation and other guys, and then it gives them time to work out a deal, and other clubs can't sign them. I don't know.
Right, so I see the special discovery player, which is a 27-year-old or younger. When you're considering him, there can only be one per team in the league. So, like, you can have a list of them, but you can only sign one of them per year. You can only sign one of them, and you cannot sign another one until his contract is up. So even if you trade him away, you can't sign another until that player's contract is terminated or the budget is used to buy him down. I genuinely don't know. It's so confusing. I think a lot of people have heard of the discovery rights. You can make a list of players, because I think there was a time when a clip came out of Philadelphia's list and they had Zlatan on it. It was such a big deal. But I don't know if this is the same thing, and like, I know about it, I just don't know enough about it. So if anybody out there is listening who knows about this rule and can give us a little bit more information on it than just you pick a bunch of players and throw them on a list, and then if anybody wants them, you say, you have to pay me now. Go ahead and leave us a comment or write us an email and fill us in there, because I don't think any of us, unless Connor, you know anything else about this?
I'm still trying to figure out Gam and Tam. I got to take one rule at a time.
Fair enough. All right, so what we're going to do this week, we're going to go ahead and talk about CONCACAF Champions League roundup. We are officially into the next round starting this upcoming Tuesday. So that's exciting because we got 4 teams, one on each side of the bracket, which means potentially we can guarantee an MLS champion by the end of this leg. Because if all MLS teams win, that means only MLS teams are left, which would be phenomenal. We're going to round up 6 MLS games. We each watched 2 games this week, one for the team that we support, Red Bull, Miami for Adam, and Connor watched Atlanta, and then 3 other games that we picked. And then we're going to just round those up, give you a quick synopsis of kind of what happened and kind of the takes that we took from them. And then we are going to go talk about our goal of the week and our save of the week. We also have a new segment coming in called our Player of the Week and our Worst Player of the Week that we are hereby labeling the Beckham Award of the Week and the Yoshi Otun Player of the Week for best and worst, respectively, because as we all know, we all love to poke fun at Orlando City, and Yoshi Otun was awful. Just awful. And then finally, we're going to go to a fantasy segment again, a quick fire week 2 score prediction, and then question of the day by yours truly. So why don't we go ahead and start with CONCACAF Champions League roundup, and I'm going to send it to Adam for Seattle versus Olympia because I've been speaking too much and I want to keep my voice off for a little bit.
Yeah. So after that first leg where it ended 2-2 in the away leg for Seattle, I genuinely thought they would be good enough at home to go through and progress. Obviously, that wasn't the case. But, they had to fall so LAFC could fly, I guess. They didn't start off that strong. Olympia scored in very early, like the 4th minute off a decent header. João Paulo is probably the signing of the season so far. Had the goal and an assist to Roldan, I believe, had the first goal for Seattle off his cross, and then he scored the second one to take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, they couldn't hold on. Olympia equalized, and then it went into penalties. And I don't mind if a goalie saves a penalty. That's obviously what they get paid very well to do. But you're a professional soccer player, Christian Roldan. You can't be hitting, you can't be kicking the ball into New York from Seattle.
Yeah,
that was horrendous.
Yeah, it was an awful miss.
Kevin Leardom missed, had his saved. It's unfortunate. I don't think you should ever miss a penalty, but it happens. If the goalie saves it, again, no problem with that. But you can't be kicking it into a field goal. But that just means they are now out and have more focus on MLS.
Yeah. Fun fact: the only thing I was ever good at as a goalkeeper in real life was saving penalties. I once saved 7 out of 13 penalties in a penalty shootout, and the only thing Adam was ever good at was missing penalties. So,
I don't know I have no idea what you're talking about.
You two are a great team then.
I guess we'll move on to LAFC Leon, and I'll jump back onto it. And I labeled this one Drama at the Bank. LAFC came back from 2 goals down to beat Leon at home, 3-2 on aggregate. They were the 4th of 4 MLS teams to make it at this point, and we thought it was going to be smooth sailing for all MLS clubs. Everything was going right until Seattle came along, of course. And it was huge for the league. And this is going to be the second time in 2 years that we've made 4 teams into this round of CCL, which shows you that we're establishing ourselves as a continental power as a league, because this is the second time we've had 4 teams in the final round out of 5. However, last time, 3 of the 4 lost at this point. So, unfortunate, right? So we're hoping for a better result this time. Vela had 2 goals and a Diego Rossi wonder strike that put the guys through the next round. they just bossed the show. It was a complete LAFC takeover, and they really showed their class. They won the physical battle. This game had 9 yellow cards come back and forth, and they won that physical battle. They didn't back down, and they really showed their class and proved not only to the nation but to the entire confederation that they are a legitimate force in this competition. That they're going to go up against Cruz Azul, and they're going to bring it to them. So they do get Cruz Azul this week. And they ran through Portmore, but that's not saying much, right? It was expected that was going to happen. This is going to be a good matchup, right? I think they're going to, they have more games under their belt now. They went up against a Miami side that put a lot more up against them than I think they thought they were going to get. But I think that they can get through this. They managed some players in week one. They came away with a win after Vela disrespected the greatest goalkeeper of all time. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But if they play strong, and if they get a clean sheet at home, they'll get out of this. So I'm going to say 2-1 LAFC on aggregate. What else does anybody think prediction-wise?
I could see them also just kind of sneaking through.
Yeah, I'd probably say 3-2, just because of those two defenders that we've spoken about.
Yeah. Connor, what's your score prediction?
Yeah, I'm thinking 3-2 also.
All right. Atlanta versus America. Connor, what do you think? What do you think about this one?
Well, before the weekend, I would have had a lot more confidence in them going into this matchup because they played each other last year, and Atlanta played some of their second team guys. I don't really know if America was playing their best, but Atlanta did actually beat them. Obviously, at home helped, but a full strength squad would definitely put up a fight. But without Martinez, I don't know if they can do it, honestly.
Interesting. I also noted that America clearly didn't perform well against a weaker Comunicaciones side, and they moved on PKs, but they're not the strongest America side that people were afraid of. But yeah, no Josef, big problem, right? So I think they're going to struggle to fill his shoes. Not even that Jan won't be good in the long run, or whoever they bring in won't be good, but right now they're going to struggle getting that done. So I'm going to say 3-1 America moves on. What else, Adam?
I'll be keeping an eye on how Atlanta line up at the weekend. Whether John starts up top or someone like a Barco or PT, because I think that'll tell us how they'll most likely line up in their CCL game. But yeah, no Josef is, massive. Yeah, I'll go 3-1 as well.
Connor?
I'll say 2-1
2-1 who?
America.
Just wanted to clarify that. Montreal Olympia. I think Montreal got a really good draw out of this one. I think they would have struggled against Seattle, but I think Olympia they can put up a fight against. We talked about it. Olympia moved on in PKs. But they had to battle back, right? Seattle jumped out early and had to battle back against Seattle to get to extra time, then evidently PKs. And they weren't necessarily the strongest opponent, right? They turned on and off really easily and allowed Seattle to get, take advantage and then kind of sit in. But here's the thing that we know about Thierry Henry's Montreal side is that when they get a 1-goal lead, they're more than happy to sit 12 players behind the ball and defend for their lives. And the question is going to be for me whether Montreal's tactic in score the ball and then park the bus will prevent Olympia from doing what they did to Seattle and coming back and making it into overtime and advancing on PKs. Thoughts?
It certainly helps when they bring in another holding midfielder.
Big Victor.
That was wild. I think he comes. That's a big signing. I don't think it's necessarily top priority. I still think that back line is, let's say suspect to say the least. Mm-hmm. But having that kind of Premier League experience in front of them, that rock solid holding midfielder is pretty impressive, especially if they're going to try to park the bus.
For sure. Connor.
Yeah. Yeah. This is yeah, like you said, best matchup possible probably. I think playing against Olympia gives them a chance. I think they maybe could have still had a chance against Seattle, but um, you kind of hope that they get another strong start like they did last time and can hold it off in the second leg. You know, if they get a good enough start in the first leg, they can do their favorite sit back and just park everybody immediately.
All right, so score prediction. What are we thinking? Adam, go first.
Um, 2-1 Montreal.
Interesting. Connor?
I'll say, man, I'll say 1-1 Montreal on away goals.
I was going to say 2-2 Montreal on penalties. I think this
Interesting.
one is the same kind of idea as Seattle, where they might go 2-0, 2-0, or 1-1, 1-1, and move on. And then finally, NYC versus Tigres, which I think is a phenomenal matchup. Two powerhouses of their respective leagues. And a lot of people are saying that Tigres aren't playing well and they're not up to the best of their abilities, so NYC have a really good chance to move on. What are your thoughts on this?
The only T-Race player I can name is Gignac, and he's awesome. So I'm sure he'll score at some point in this game or this tie. But yeah, New York City looked okay against Columbus. I mean, Zilla Ryan just decided I'm just going to hit a banger, but I think they have enough. I mean, it should be a good game. This will probably be the best tie of the quarterfinals.
Connor.
I would say the only thing I'm concerned about them with, and I guess they've been a little bit better about it the last couple of games, but still the three goals that they let up in the first CCL game that they played may be concerning. Maybe the defense isn't super solid yet, and you know this is a really strong opponent. Obviously Columbus was too, and they played defensively pretty well with 10 guys, but um, I think this is a level above Columbus, and we'll see what they'll be able to do.
Yeah, and I think we also have to take the Columbus game with a grain of salt, right? Um, because of that red card in the third minute, which we'll get into. But the one thing that I don't think people are mentioning enough is how poorly NYC's back line is organized. Oh, excuse me. If you watched that San Carlos game, you knew all you had to do was kick, let them step up, force a turnover, and kick it. And they're not organized enough to figure out where the strikers are, or they're not fast enough to run back as the strikers are running past them. And Columbus figured this out, and in the first 2 minutes of the game, got one of their players sent off, got Chanot sent off. Tigres are smart. They've got Eduardo Vargas, who is another striker up there, Adam, that you didn't mention, with Yignac, a ton of high-level center mids, and a decent back line, and Memo Ochoa in goal. They're really deep and they're strong. I think NYC are going to score a lot, but I think they're going to get scored on a lot. They're going to get abused. And I'm going to say Tigres 4-3 on aggregate. NYC say see ya.
Is Vargas that Chilean striker?
Yeah.
Okay, I do know who you're talking about then. Yeah. Where's the first game at
It's
T
home,
Race?
so it'll be at Red Bull
Oh,
Arena.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on how this game goes, I think decides the tie again. Granted, they're not playing at Yankee Stadium, so I think Tigres has a little bit more room to play with,
Mm-hmm.
which I think it just works against NYC. So I think Tigres go through. I'll say 3-2.
Connor.
Uh, I'll say Tigres 4-2.
Nice. Interesting. Connor, I'm also going to send it to you to start our um, Week 1 MLS 6-game roundup with Atlanta versus Nashville.
All right, well, might as well start with the elephant in the room. The king of MLS strikers going down. Um, for those that don't know, he tore his ACL and he's out for the year. For, I would say almost for sure. That's going to kill the team for sure. I think Jan isn't a terrible replacement for him, but I just don't think. that he fits into the system as well. I know Andrew and I were briefly talking about that, and Jan doesn't have the speed to run in behind to get the ball and score. So we'll see what they do with it. In terms of the game, I thought this was a really, really great win for Atlanta, just because, and that's despite the fact that they didn't. I don't feel like they looked amazing on the field. I don't think they did anything, like amazing. They didn't look like an MLS winning team, MLS Cup winning team, but they had a midweek game for CCL, and then they came into a stadium that was filled with 60,000 people, super excited to see their team play. So I'm sure that had the Nashville players like amped up, ready to like run through a wall, and they were going to come out hot. And they started off well with Barco finding some space, getting a nice goal to start it off. But then they fell off on the free kick, and Zimmerman made them pay, getting their first ever goal, of course from a center back. That's great. But then Atlanta fired back kind of quick on a kind of a wonky play with the offside flag originally being raised, and then I think the ref disallowed it, which was rightfully disallowed. And then Hyndman hit a really nice volley to give Atlanta the lead. And then I felt like most of the rest of the game was pretty dominated by Nashville. And I think that obviously has a lot to do with Yosef going down. But by the end of the game, it was definitely nervy. I was pretty nervous about them being able to hold that lead. I definitely didn't want to concede at the end, but they were able to do it. And I think it was a great win for them. But now they have to figure out what they're going to do up top, and I think that could change a lot of things.
Yeah, the one thing that I noted, I was watching this game with Jason. He had come over to watch it, and my dad was there too. And you watch the first goal that they score, and I think it was Walker Zimmerman who got pulled out of his position. Like it must have been 15 yards. Josef checked in, and instead of passing him off to Dax, he followed him in, and it just let Barco run straight in behind. They just dump the ball over the top, and they're in, like no problem whatsoever. And you see it, and you can tell that they're all good players, but they're not on the same page yet in Nashville, right? So Zimmerman knows that most likely he probably should pass that guy off, but because he's not on the same page where he can say, "Hey, Daxie, on your right shoulder," and drop off, he feels like he needs to follow, right? And because of that, they're still not on the same page, and it allows for those types of mistakes. Halfway through the season, that's not going to happen. This is what I mean by I think Nashville is going to be so much better than what people think, is because they all know what they're supposed to do. They just got to get it clicking. And we talked about how big of a signing Walker Zimmerman was. Um, I think he understood his impact on that trade as well, and I think he felt he needed to overcompensate and prove to people why he was worth the price tag. So he's running around following all these people, and he kind of overcompensated for it and got it hurt his team. He ended up making up for it with that goal, but little things like that are going to hurt Nashville in the beginning, but they will fix it, I think. And I think it was a great showing for Nashville. I know you talked a lot about Atlanta being really good, and I agree. I thought it was a great way to manage the game. Get in there, get your goal, get the win, get out. But I think on the side of Nashville, excuse me again, I think it was fantastic to see the way that they pushed through. Their crowd was fantastic. I hope they can keep that at least, at 70% of that all year would be phenomenal. Also, shout out to their goal celebration for the stadium where they record onto a vinyl record the audio for the player. That's sick. But yeah, I think a great showing for Nashville, and yes, a good game for Atlanta as well.
Yeah, I agree. The whole guitar riff before the game was really cool. The whole music kind of aspect that they brought into that club, obviously playing in the music kind of center of the country, was just fantastic. What's also really cool, and I didn't realize this until the game was almost over, but one half of their field has a 40-yard, 18-yard box because the goalie just allowed to catch the ball wherever he wants, apparently.
He wasn't allowed. He got the yellow card.
That's a red card every day of the week.
Red card.
You don't know if that's going in. What do you mean?
And that's my point. That's why you can't send him off. Because what if it's not? It's not denial of a clear goal scoring opportunity. But I'm not wasting time with this argument. We'll have this argument off air.
Fine.
Leave your leave a comment shoot us an email. Let us know what you think. Red card, no red card, and give me your explanation. Because I've got a really good explanation for you. It's called clear and obvious, and you could not prove that was going in. And by the referee's point of view, you could not prove it. So
you can't prove
yell
that
at
it
us right
wasn't.
decision.
Fine.
Anyways, LA Houston. This was one of the first games I watched this week. Sorry for everybody. I'm twisting around. I'm on the floor right now. I don't have any place to sit in my new apartment, so I'm uncomfortable. And if you see me moving around, that's why, and I apologize. First game I watched this week, one of the first games. I watched every game this week except for Vancouver game because I had nothing to do, and I love MLS, and I need to get a life. But I watched every game except that. So this was one of the first games I watched, and I loved it. I thought it was it was edgy and a lot of things going on. You had a goalkeeper assist thrown in there. LA comes out flying. Pavone scores a screamer, and David Bingham gets an assist. That ball was a dime. Just pop out of his hands right onto Pavone's foot, take it in, and rip it. And then they just stopped playing. They allowed Houston to work into the game. Houston gets a majority of the possession in the middle third, like the middle 15 of the first half. Then the Galaxy get back into it. It's edgy back and forth for the end of the first half. It ends 1-0. Then Houston come out strong in the second half, and Zarek Valentin plays this dime of a ball into Mauro Manotas, and then Bingham forgets that he's a goalkeeper and he's supposed to stay in the goal. He runs and tries to take an angle, has no idea where he's going. Manotas tucks it away, and Houston ties it. Goes back and forth for the rest of the game, and there isn't a lot of really clear-cut chances. Game ends 1-1, right? So it looked really hot over there. So you could tell that it definitely played into the way that the players played. Sasha Question is slow, but he looked slow. Pavone was the only one who looked really fit and strong. And then you got this guy Chicharito, who was
bad,
underwhelming. I'm not going to use the term bad because he did things that people can't track stat-wise, but he was underwhelming.
No, he was bad.
I'll
say it.
He had really bad attitude. That's what I'll give you. He was yelling and screaming at his teammates. He was complaining a bunch. I don't know what coach thinks it's a good idea to give a guy who's played 0 games for you the armband in your first game ever. But whoever's idea that was, bad decision. That's not how you want your captain to act. He's running around, screaming, yelling, pointing, throwing fits when he doesn't get the ball. It's very poor for a guy who wears an armband, and that's not what you want to see. I liked Insua. We had mentioned this a little bit. How is he going to come out and play? I thought he was a lot better than, what I was thinking. He had a very good attacking mindset, and he wasn't terribly defensive either. Houston didn't use a lot of big names, right? Quintero didn't see the field. Elise didn't see the field. I think Quintero's hurt, but I don't know about why Elise didn't see the field. For me, player of the game was Zarek Valentin. I thought he was phenomenal both sides of the ball. We talked about that ball that he played in for the assist. It was just a perfect pass, and he was great defensively too. Wasn't a fan of Question's performance. I'm going to give him my worst player of the game. He was just absent for a guy who's supposed to be your the guy who pulls the strings for you. He just kind of drifted in and out of the game and didn't do much for me. But especially in the last minute of the game where you needed a game changer, he wasn't there.
Yeah. I saw a stat that LA had something like 27 crosses. They still think Zlatan's in the box trying to head the ball. Chicharito's not going to win those headers. He needs, Pavone and whoever running off of him. Pavone's probably the only one who's able to, get the ball to him, then make that run. I don't think Kleshton's got the speed anymore. I don't think Dos Santos has that speed anymore. But, yeah, Chicharito was... I know Andrew won't say it, but he was bad.
It wasn't bad.
He was bad.
He was getting adjusted.
Yes, but he was bad. But I'm worried because the LA coach after the game said we need to cross the ball more. So
who's that's Barcelona, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's lost his mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that works. Chicharito's not gonna just be scoring headers. I know he's supposed to be, that little fox in the box kind of striker where he's just everywhere creating, scoring, whatever, but he's not going to have 20 goals off headers this season. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I would say you can feel Zlatan's absence for sure. Chicharito definitely did not fill his shoes. I mean, I think Zlatan's first game with LA was the LAFC game.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean he really like made a name for himself right off the bat. Chicharito did the exact opposite. You know, to use a certain word that one of our hosts would use, he was bad, definitely bad, not underwhelming, bad. Um, but one thing I would say is I think Pavon's going to be super good this year. I think this is his breakout year.
Yeah, I said Pavone was going to have a better year than Chicharito did.
Let me quote from another one of our hosts. It's still week one.
I agree.
I
But,
think they'll both be good. They're going to push LA to second in the West, where LAFC are going to finish fourth. And yeah, like I said, all my predictions are going to come true, and we'll all live happily ever after. Great.
I don't know. A 2 out of 10 in your first game isn't confidence inspiring, especially when you're the captain.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just hope he doesn't get the armband anymore, but that's just me.
No, he will.
Wait, were
RSL
we supposed
versus
to,
Orlando.
before we do that, were we supposed to do like a best and worst player of each game?
I put it in there. I thought it was just notes that I took, but yeah, who's your best player from Atlanta or the
Um,
Atlanta game?
uh,
It doesn't have to be from Atlanta.
yeah, I'm gonna say Walker Zimmerman, honestly, for best player and worst. I'm gonna go Jake Mulroney.
He got subbed
I
on,
just
right?
thought
Did he start?
I thought he started. Yeah,
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
that shows you how irrelevant he was in
Yeah,
the game.
no, no, big facts, big facts, big facts.
He would just like I forgot he was out there, honestly.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. All right, RSL versus Orlando, courtesy of Adam. And the only
Yeah,
reason we didn't give him FCC, his favorite club ever, is because we played football. That was mine.
exactly. No, I picked this game for a few reasons. I was curious to see how RSL would look after selling most of their offense in the offseason. And this was the only scoreless game of the weekend. Um, I mean, Orlando going into this when the lineups got released, no Dom Dwyer, no Nani. I mean, that attack didn't do anything for me. And then I still have massive questions about their backline. Granted, they kept the clean sheet, but there's nothing in this team that really excites me. And this game was awful from both teams. It was bad. I think there were like 3 shots on target combined the whole game. I think the highlight was Giuseppe Rossi coming on because I forgot he existed.
Yeah, I remember he existed when he was linked to Red Bull for like 6 years, and then he decided, no, I'm going to stay and waste my career in Spain on the bench or Italy on the bench, and then I'm going to come and sign for RSL when I'm 37 years old and do nothing.
He's only 33. I thought he was like 37. Well, yeah, I genuinely forgot he existed and was still playing and wasn't like 40 years old. Um, I'll be interested to see once. I mean, Orlando's obviously going to get better when Nani comes back because he's their playmaker and main goal scoring threat. But RSL is night and day home and away. Home form last year, they won like 12 games and tied 1 and only lost 4 at home versus 4 wins away. They're so much better at home.
It's crazy.
So yeah, wild. So hopefully they don't do that well because they're playing New York this weekend. But I'd be very surprised if they don't come away with 3 points.
All right, so let's go ahead and move into NYCFC Columbus from Connor.
Yeah. The big talking point of this game, Chanel getting sent off in the 3rd minute, and it completely changed the game. I was expecting this to be exciting. I have both these teams pretty high up in my final prediction standings, and I'm sure a lot of people do. They're both expected to be really good teams this year, so I was expecting a really good game, and honestly, I thought it was really boring. And, not the most boring. Obviously, that's going to go to RSL Orlando. That was a snooze fest. Um, I thought that Columbus definitely looked like a team playing their first game of the season. I thought they were a little slow and rusty, but I definitely think there's potential to be really good. Um, Zella Ryan, I think, is going to be their focal point for their attack. And if he can really get going, I think he's going to get Columbus to soar up the standings, and they're going to be really good. You know, Mr. Future Golden Boot, he was a little bit disappointing in this game, but I think he'll hit the ground running eventually, as he has more time to play with Zell Ryan and kind of figure things out. One other person that I thought that I took notice of in the game was Milton Valenzuela. Um, it was really good to see him healthy again. I think he's one of the best fullbacks in the league, and he's definitely going to show that again this season. He's going to have a huge impact. And in terms of NYC, um, they obviously came in as the sharper team because they played a couple of the CCL games. But I feel like the whole game plan got chucked out the window as soon as they were down to 10 guys. And it was just so early in the game that they kind of just had to stick with this defensive formation for most of the time. I mean, they were forced to take off Medina for Ibiaga within 15 minutes. So that really kills the attack. And I thought, Aber and Mitrito were up top. I thought Mitrito was okay, but I thought Aber just did nothing. And their attack was just dead from it. In terms of defense, I thought they did a pretty solid job. I mean, they eventually conceded that one time, but playing with 10 men for basically the entire game to only have it 1-0 against a pretty strong Columbus team, it's not terrible. I mean, obviously, their defense is the one that got the red card, so I guess it wasn't perfect. Still things to work on. But I think NYC will rebound, and I think their next game will be a better representation of what they can do in the league.
Right, yeah, I think you got to take this one with a grain of salt, right? 3rd-minute red card doesn't show what you are as a team going forward, but I do think it shows a lot of what their team can do mentally, right? They defended for 87 minutes and only gave up 1 goal, and they weren't bad when they had 10 men. They did a really good job of withstanding the Columbus attack and even creating a few chances of their own. And, I think you're right. When you watch them next game, even though they'll be down a player in Chanot, I think it'll be a much better representation of what they can do.
Yeah. I mean, granted, they're at Toronto this week, so I think they'll be fairly challenged again, like they were with Columbus. But I'm looking forward to that game. It should be fairly exciting.
Oh, absolutely. Future MLS Cup champions Red Bull versus Adam's favorite team, FCC.
DFFC. Sorry.
So I kept texting Adam. Adam and I had a 2-word conversation going. Essentially, he gave me 2 words and I gave him 2 words. Every time he texted me no rules. And every time I texted Adam, what did I text you?
I don't remember. What did you text me?
Don't sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Do not sleep on my Red Bulls. God, they were so good. No, I'm just kidding. They were absolutely awful.
Yeah.
They came out really strong to start the game, right? They looked really good. They were combining up top. They were pressing really well, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, this team looks awesome. And then I remembered we were playing Cincinnati. And I was like, oh, that's depressing. They complete control the entire game. And then they were just missing that finishing touch. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everybody expected it. Kyle Duncan scores the first goal of the season.
Mm-hmm. Called it.
As everybody did. Really great combination from Royer and Velo, and I thought Velo was phenomenal in this game. I was telling you at the start of the season, I was telling everybody at the start of the season, Velo is the key that we have been missing up top. We all love the GOAT that is Alex Mawil, but he didn't have it going forward. Velo knows what he's doing, is tricky, is really sharp up there, and he put everything together. We almost get an immediate second with a high press right after that too, which was great. And then Velo sets up Kaku for a second after winning another ball in the air on a press. everything's looking good. We got no big names who are doing the job. Everything's really fluid. Kaku's pulling out Rabona passes, little combinations. And then the start of the second half comes, and our good buddy Long Island Tim Parker forgets that running is part of his job. And he gets burned, doesn't work back on D, and Brandon Vasquez sets up Alan Cruz for an easy tap-in. And now you're sitting here thinking, oh great, here we go again. Then they take their foot off the pedal and stop pressing, which is the entire reason we play a 4-2-2-2 is so we can trap teams in certain areas of the field where they're weak. But Armas decides that we're not going to press anymore. And then they come in and they start putting pressure on us. We counterattack and Royer puts a goal and it's 3-1. And then another defensive mistake happens and Locadia goes one-on-one and finishes. And now it's 3-2. Red Bull finished the game 3-2. We win the game. But there are so many defensive issues we need to sort out. And it's ridiculous at this point because you go into the first half and they don't even have a sniff on goal. And then Armas is just like, okay, guys, good job. Way to press hard. Now sit back and let them attack us for a little bit. That's not how you coach. Anybody can tell you that. Go in and keep the pressure on. Go win a ball back. Go put them down so that they can't come back. And they were lackluster. It was awful. So I'll go player of the game. It was obvious between Duncan and Velo. Duncan had a goal and 2 assists, or a goal and an assist. And Velo had 2 assists. And I'm going to say Velo was my player of the game. Mainly because he was instrumental to our first half start. He was really great, and it was obviously great to see him back from injury, but he was putting together everything that we needed, and I thought it was really good. Worst player of the game for me, Brian White, was up there for me. He just didn't do anything, which was disappointing. But I also thought DePlange for FCC was really bad. Playing outside back, he was getting eaten up all day, whether it was Royer, Velo, Duncan, Segrist even a few times. Like, wherever they put him, he was just getting destroyed. So I'm going to say DePlange was my worst player of the game. And my favorite moment of the game was David Jensen with his hat on.
You're the worst.
Always here for a goalkeeper.
Hate it.
I hate you.
Bit mean, but alright.
Any thoughts? I'm sure Adam watched it, but I don't know if Connor watched.
I did, unfortunately. This back line is meh. I mean, Aaron Long not playing was a bit surprising, and we had kind of talked about how Tim Parker was going to have to step up and be the leader of that team, especially that back five, including the goalkeeper, when Aaron Long is absent. I know we had Tarek next to him, but the 2 outside backs are essentially rookies. It's up to him as the experienced one in this league to be that leader, and he just didn't want to do it. You can't really concede twice to Cincinnati and think everything's going to be fine. Going forward, they looked very good. I still don't think Brian White's the long-term solution. I know Andrew might disagree, but there will be teams that are better going forward than FCC, and if you can't defend, you're in trouble.
That's a weird statement to say. We all know FCC is the best team in the league, but
they're not even the best team, in that state.
No,
I
agree.
They're better than your loons.
I mean, listen. If you have to admit the truth, you got to admit the truth, right?
Yeah, something like that.
No, I agree. I think there are a lot of issues that need to work out, and it should be worrying. And the one thing that worries me specifically is the fact that they said Aaron Long had a knock going into preseason, and he's still out. So what are they hiding? What's going on? That's just in my head. But answers for another day.
It's just
Miami.
It's just plans to bring Dale Sturridge in. Oh wait, no, he's banned for 4 months. Miami. So I was very much looking forward to this game. I mean, first real game in franchise history. Just casually against arguably the best MLS team ever.
They set the record.
Yeah, but they didn't win MLS Cup, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter unless you bring home a trophy. You don't get You don't get trophies for points.
They brought home the
I mean, yeah, that's fair. Even in MLS, we do give trophies for that, but you know what I mean. They pretty much set up like I expected in the 4-2-3-1. I mean, the highlight of this game obviously was Vela's goal. Personally, I think, and I'm not discrediting Robles because he was an animal that 90 minutes. I mean, it could have been 4 or 5 nothing if not for him. But I think a younger Robles, I think, saves that.
I don't think younger Robles saves that. I'm going to be honest with you.
I do. He was a little slow on that chip, but I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Vela or Robles' performance overall. I think he was probably one of the 2 best players from Miami. The other being Ben Sweat, who was a monster. This man was playing left back, center back. He was playing left wing at one point. I mean, Ben Sweat is going to be very nice for this team. That being said,
You hear you say that?
I agree, but I was so impressed with him. I mean, I liked that signing when they first announced it. I think he's arguably the best defender they have, but I was so impressed with him this game. So I hope that continues this week at DC. But I don't necessarily blame Miami for winning this. Of the 6, I'll throw it to you guys, of the 6 expansion teams that we've had, so Orlando, NYC, Minnesota, FCC, LA, and Atlanta, can anyone tell me the only expansion team to win their opening game?
Atlanta. No, Atlanta lost to us.
Nope.
Atlanta lost to us.
I don't think any have.
LAFC is the only one. 1-0 over Seattle, and Orlando NYC tied their first game 1-1 because it was against each other, so that only half counts.
Yep.
So, expansion teams never win their first game. It's fine. We go to DC, who just is coming off a loss as well, and we go from there. Pizarro looked okay.
He was bad.
Yeah, he didn't really do anything. But he's also very new. He didn't necessarily have the long preseason with these guys that everyone else had. So I think he comes in and looks better. I got to say, Robbie Robinson up top for being the number 1 overall draft pick. I don't know. He was meh. He had a couple decent chances, had a really good touch in the box to bring it down, but couldn't get the shot away. But I think they're missing like that big name striker that we said. So I'll be interested to see who they bring in. And Elvis Powell can go away because he was probably the worst player at that right back spot. He can't be the long-term answer there.
Ask anybody at FCC; they'll agree with you. He's awful.
Oh, he was dude. It was bad.
It's just really funny that when your big name star player plays bad, you have 8 excuses for why he played bad. But when Chicharito plays bad,
oh no. I don't know. I agree. It's a little biased, but also Chicharito is in arguably a better team, and is a better player. I don't think many MLS fans knew who Pizarro was before the Miami rumor started. Everyone who watches soccer knows who Chicharito is.
I knew who Pizarro was.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. He was one of the best players on the Mexican national team.
Yeah.
Tore us apart.
Well, that's not difficult, but
big facts.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, DC just signed Federico Higuain this week, so I assume he's back healthy. But I wasn't necessarily that convinced by DC because they lost to Colorado, although Colorado was really good. So,
yeah, I wasn't.
Oh, that was also, and I don't know if you guys saw this. Miami made a signing today.
Who?
Just the greatest commentator in the history of sports, Mr. Ray Hudson, who is their new color commentator for matches this season, and I am just so happy. I love that man.
I hope he helps you win games.
It doesn't matter. It'll be entertaining whether we're losing 5-0 or winning 5-0. That man can turn a phrase.
Connor, any thoughts?
I didn't really watch the game, but based on my prediction, I was hoping for some more goals.
Yeah.
There definitely could have been. Robles stood on his head at some points.
He was absurd, bro. Healthy Robles is the best goalkeeper in the league. Convince me otherwise.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
He also rises to the occasion, right? I mean, you saw it in the Champions League when he made like 13 saves for Red Bull. You saw it, in big games. He was there. But when he was hurt, he was a different player. So, anyways, we're gonna move on to our new segment, Goal of the Week. Lots of goals scored. 35 goals scored this week. I know because I do 5 push-ups and 5 sit-ups for every goal scored. New fitness trend.
Gross.
I'm getting out there first because I know Adam's trying to steal mine. My goal of the week was Alanis's free kick for San Jose. Late in the game, last kick of the ball, left-footed in-swinger to the far right top corner, picture perfect. Literally made me smile when I watched that goal go in. And that is my goal of the week. And Adam, you can't steal it from me.
It's fine. It's not who I had, so joke's on you.
Who do you have then?
Let Connor go. I'll save mine for the.
All right, Connor, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to go Alanis also, but since you went with it, I'm gonna pick one just to piss you off. So I'll go with definitely a lot of bias. Emerson Hyman's volley.
You mean the one that was covered in controversy? Yeah.
I don't care. Found
No,
it
I
back
agree.
on that.
That
It was on
volley
the scoreboard.
was sick.
That was all his years of Bournemouth frustration put out right there.
Yeah. So mine is actually pretty well timed considering in one of the leagues I'm in, I'm playing against a team named after him. It is Gadi Kinda for SKC. That one-time lefty strike from 20 yards out, top corner, was a thing of beauty, and I am playing against the Gadi Kinda hype train team in MLS Fantasy this week. So
and who was it who said that he was going to be a monster for SKC?
yeah.
Oh, that's right, that was me. Oh God, it's good to know that I know what I'm talking about, and I've kind of seen this league once or twice.
Yeah, he was good.
He was very good. He's the game changer that SKC have needed going forward. They've had a lot of defensive-minded center mids for a long time and haven't had that spark outside of Benny Feilhaber, who it's time to say goodbye to Benny, right? So exciting to watch him play. What?
Honorable mention to the other SKC goal. I don't remember who scored it. It was the third one. It was the one that Jerso had the Maradona in the box to cross it. So that was a good goal too.
Yeah. Save of the week. For me, I, as a goalkeeper, am a little biased to saves that look easy but I know are really hard. Quentin Westberg for Toronto had to make the save on Nick Lima this week that came through 6 or 7 people. Curling it looked like it could have been a cross or a shot, curling to the back stick, and he gets himself down nice and quick and did really well to get that rebound out of harm's way. So that's my pick for save of the week. Well done, Quentin Westberg.
Yeah. Connor?
I went with Robles' save from early in the game off the Rossi header. I just thought that was a sick save.
Also very, very good. Again, Robles is the best goalkeeper in the league when he's healthy.
Yeah, I had that one as well. I literally just wrote Luis Robles because there were too many in that game for me to pick just one.
Absolutely agree. Player of the Week, a.k.a. the David Beckham Player of the Week award. I think we all have the same one. I think Adam might have something different.
I have something different.
All right. For me, Jordan Morris. Man comes off the bench in the second half, scores a brace and gets 3 points, and set up a ton of chances for his teammates who could not finish dinner if their life depended on it. They were awful outside of J-Mo, and really happy to see him come out and be good. He had a really good showing. Big ups J-Mo, and as Jason was saying, I was watching this game with Jason too. It was after the Red Bull game, and Jordan just kept setting up chances, and his teammates were missing. And he goes, what else can Jordan do to help his team win? And I go, he could put the ball in the back of the net himself, and he does that twice, and they win the game. So big up J-Mo.
Yeah, mine was also J-Mo. He was a sub too that game, right? Was he?
He was what?
Was he a sub?
Yeah, he subbed on in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, you sub on the second half, score 2 goals, carry your team to a win. You're gonna win Beckham Award.
Big facts.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the case for Jordan Morris is very strong, but I didn't want to go 3 for 3, so I said Kevin Molino.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 goals. He looked pretty good in that attack. So just to be different, he also had, both goals for Minnesota. So I picked him.
Hey, I'm always here for a Loon Player of the Week. So
Exactly.
Honorable mention, Luis Robles. Luis Robles wins that game, and Miami wins that game. Luis Robles is a Player of the Week. No question.
Even in a draw, would have done it.
Yoshi Yotun, Worst Player of the Week award. Miguel
Chicharito.
Ibarra. How many more chances do you need from 4 yards out to score a goal? He literally had 3 of them. He would have cost his team 3 points if Morris didn't come to the rescue this week, and he is my worst player of the week, simply for the fact that he could not finish his dinner.
Guess he wasn't hungry.
Ha 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 ha.
Shut up, you're sitting on the floor.
Got me.
All right. So for my Yoshi player of the week, I went with Chanel, and I think the red card was a little questionable. Like I could see it either way, a yellow or a red, but he shouldn't put himself or his team in that situation. Literally 3 minutes into the game, and I think NYC could have had a shot to win that, or at least take some points. But when you get sent off in the 3rd minute, you kill it for your team.
Yeah, totally agree there. And we talked about it. NYC's back line just failed to realize that people will run right by them if they don't drop off. So, agreed.
Yeah. Mine, we already spoke about a lot. Chicharito. Houston's a team with arguably one of the worst back lines in the league, and I don't want to necessarily keep saying the same point over and over and over, but Zlatan wins that game. It just is fact.
Okay.
You can't put in a 2 out of 10 performance with the captain armband and yell at your teammates for not doing anything while you're also not doing anything. Like if he's playing amazing and yelling at his teammates, fair enough. Do what you want, but you can't be the worst player on the field and telling people what to do. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I think that's a totally fair point. And as much as I want to disagree with whatever you're saying, I can't. You're right. 100% there. Completely agree. Now we're moving on to the fantasy femtosecond. Why do we call it the femtosecond? Because it goes super quick, because it doesn't take a lot of time, and because I needed a time segment that started with the letter F to make it alliterate. So the fantasy femtosecond it is. Over to Adam to shout out the top player in the Designated Players Podcast Fantasy League.
Yeah, so with a whopping score of, I think it was 102 points. We have the not-so-super Chario brothers, a.k.a. Samurai Panda FC, who's a Seattle supporter. So, well done. You smashed all 3 of our scores this week. Hopefully not too much good luck going forward, because I kind of want to catch up to you.
Well, you're going to have to catch up to me first, Adam.
Oh, my God. You're 3 points ahead of me.
Out of all 3 DP Pod hosts, I finished ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
Adam will say it's only 3 points, but I'm still ahead of him, and that's all that matters.
For now.
Yeah, see how keep going. But so we are going to talk about last week's must-haves and sleeper performances, and we're going to have a little graphic up on the YouTube video, and I'll put a nice one up here. So last week's must-haves. Raul Ruidiaz, Josef Martinez, and Christian Pavone. Ruidiaz, 4 points. Josef, 2 points. Pavone, 9 points. Who picked Pavone? Oh, that's right. That was me. Yeah. Pavone comes out and is the only one who can put points up on the board. Ruidiaz was non-existent, which was weird. And I had mentioned it in the roundup of the first CCL game they had, was that he just didn't get on enough chances, and I think that will be an issue for them this year. But moving into our sleeper performances, Mark Anthony Kaye, Gustavo Bo, and Bojan. Mark Anthony Kaye, 2 points. Gustavo Bo, 8 points. Bojan, 3 points. Shout out to Adam for getting one there. Yeah, I was not expecting Bojan to be so non-influential. And I think Connor can speak to the same thing for Kaye, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like the idea that especially against teams that you think they should be doing better against, they just kind of flop. So that is a roundup of what we should do, which means when we go into this week's must-have and sleepers, you can just disregard anything Connor has to say because he can't make anybody half decent.
Yeah, 100% right.
Connor, why don't you start us off with the must-have player for this week?
All right, so my must-have, basically, avoid this player at all costs. I went with Diego Valeri. I think at home against Nashville in their first away game and coming off of a loss, he's got to be motivated to do better against a team that is still so brand new. I think they could struggle, and Portland could take advantage.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I think Nashville is still trying to work things out in the back like we talked about, and Portland have the attacking ability to pick up on that. Adam, must-have player.
I mean, I want to say Pavone, but that's boring. So
It's boring because you know it's mine.
I know, I do, and I mean that's just an obvious like that. That doesn't take much thought process to pick Pavone. So to be different, I will say Alan Pulido at home against a Houston defense that I'm still not convinced about.
I like that. I like that a lot. Mine, PT Martinez, and this is going to come as a shock to people with Josef going down, but I think against an FCC team who I just watched get torn up by midfielders and defenders, I think it's important to know that PT is probably going to take on a lot of the attacking responsibility, either setting up Barco or Jan or whoever, and also scoring goals. I think he'll have a few goals from his attacking mid position. So I think he might be worth it as a must-have player this week, especially at $8.3 million. Are you kidding? It's a steal. You know he's going to start and get a ton of attacking minutes. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they line up. I have Barco in my team right now, but I could just as easily change that to PD, depending on if he's going to play more of like a false nine kind of forward.
Yeah, I've got both of them in there, and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them both. I just have a really good feeling they're going to turn over FCC.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Connor, sleeper pick.
Sleeper pick. Kind of to tag along off of what Adam said about Pulido and against the Houston defense. I'm going with Gadi Kinda, and I think that he could be. I think he's not too expensive either. Actually, I have it here. How much is he? $8 million. I think that's really cheap for what he can do for you.
I'm surprised he's $8 million, but I'm also upset with you because I haven't had internet in the past 3 days moving into this apartment, and that was going to be mine, but you beat me to it, so now I'm not going to pick it.
Yeah,
Adam.
sucks for you.
I mean, I'll give you guys one guess who my sleeper pick plays for this weekend. Any guesses?
FC Cincinnati.
No, come on.
Inter?
Hype train. No, other hype train.
Oh, Colorado.
Yeah, Eunice Nomley. Playing at home against Orlando. I mean, Colorado looked like the real deal. Late winner against DC that I think surprised a lot of people. Jack Price looked ridiculous this week.
Yep.
Best beard in the league by far. But now they want to make a statement in their home opener, go 2-0, show people that they're legit. And I think Nomley's going to be the one to at least have an assist, if not score this weekend.
I have seen things on Nomley saying that he might be the best attacking player in the league. And I didn't see it last week, but I really, really hope that he can be, just so that you can get that hype train going a little bit.
We're in full effect already. We already won one game.
Yep. One game. Good.
We finished 9th last season, dude. We'll take all the games we can get right now.
My sleeper, I'm going to stay in Atlanta and stick with Adam Yan, because he's going to start. He's 4.5 mil, maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that. And he's going to start. He's going to get great service from some of the best attacking South Americans in the world. Imagine being Adam Yan surrounded by Pity Martinez, Ezekiel Barco, and whoever the hell else they're going to play next to him, and just getting all of that service and being Adam Yan. This is mad. So I'm going to say he's my sleeper pick this week. He's got a lot of good service, and he is a decent scorer. He was decent when he was with Columbus. He could put the ball in the back of the net. So watch out for him to be produce some goals. He might be a good switcheroo option. Okay. Week 2 predictions. How did predictions go last week, guys?
Bad.
I think predictions went all right. Quick recap here. 1 sec, and I'll give you exactly what happened. So to recap for anybody who kind of doesn't know how we do these, if you correctly guess the score and the result, so for example, 2-1 Colorado in the first game, you will give 2 points to this tracker that we're doing. If you get just the prediction right, so Colorado wins, but you said they won 3-1 instead of 2-1, you get 1 point, and if you get the prediction completely wrong, saying that they would either tie or DC would win, you'd get 0 points. At the end of week 1, Connor has 11 points with... Did you get 3? You did. You got 3 spot-on predictions. So, round of applause for Mr. Connor. Well done.
Yeah.
I have finished with 7 points. I had 1 correct prediction and a lot of good results. And then if I scroll down past... Oh, good. There he is. Adam, 4 points. Good job.
Last I had heard, I only had 1, so glad to see I picked up a little bit more.
After the first day, Adam had 1 point.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll start slow, and I'll catch up in no time.
Yeah, that's what they all say. So we're going to do it again. And we're going to go in the same way. Adam, Connor, me. And we're just going to bang them right out. Ready? New England, Chicago.
2-0 New England.
1-0 New England.
1-1 tie. RSL, RBNY.
2-2.
2-1 RBNY.
1-0 RSL. Has nobody watched any of these games in the last few years. That's always how it ends. Dallas, Montreal.
2-1 Dallas.
2-0 Dallas.
1-0 Dallas. DC, Miami.
1-1. Someone on Miami finally scores.
2-1 DC.
I have 1-2 Miami. I think this is where Miami pulls out their first win and puts Ben Olsen on the hot seat for 3 seconds until DC realizes that they'll never use another coach for the rest of their existence. Toronto, New York City.
3-2 NYC.
Yeah, 3-2 NYC.
2-2. Atlanta, FCC.
2-1 Atlanta.
1-1.
3-0 Atlanta. I think they're going to roll over them. I've mentioned that already. San Jose, Minnesota.
2-0 Minnesota.
1-0 Minnesota.
2-1 Minnesota. Good. Everybody's on the loon train. Love to see it. SKC, Houston.
3-1 SKC. Polito hat trick. Probably not,
3-0 SKC.
I have 1-0 SKC, but Colorado, Orlando.
3-0 Colorado.
2-0 Colorado.
3-1 Colorado. LA, Vancouver.
2-1 Galaxy.
3-1. LA.
I also have 2-1, and Adam and I both agree Chicharito's getting a brace.
I never said that.
Um,
He'll probably get one. I'll give him one.
Seattle, Columbus.
3-1 Seattle.
2-1 Columbus.
2-2. Portland, Nashville.
I really want to say 3-0 Portland, but 2-0 Portland.
You're going to go 2-0?
Yeah.
2-1 Portland.
And then I'm going to go 1-0 Portland. LAFC, Philadelphia to end it.
2-1 LA.
3-1 LA.
I have 2-1 LAFC. All right, so that was quickfire predictions, and we will keep everybody updated as the scores go and become greater and greater. And then question of the day comes back to me because Adam couldn't think of one, and I had a 12-hour drive to my apartment from good old Long Island, so I had a lot of thinking to do, and I thought of a would you rather. So guys, would you rather have your team win every trophy right now? And you can pick what team this is, because I know you all, you might support a few of them, Adam. That is MLS Cup, Champions League. If they were, they go into Champions, they win it. Leagues Cup, U.S. Open Cup, every single and Supporter Shield, all 5. They do the quintuple, and then never watch them again. So never watch them again, and have to support their rival. So whether it be RBNY to NYCFC, Atlanta to Orlando, so you get to win everything, and then you never watch them again. You have to support their rival, or get to continue supporting your favorite team, but they never win a trophy ever.
Who are we saying Miami's rival is?
You can pick.
Right. That's tough because I'd assume it'd be Orlando.
Could you support Orlando?
No. No, I can't. I can't do it. That's why this is tough. Does the team not exist anymore, or they're still in the league after they win everything?
They're still in the league, but you have to support their rival. So in derby games, you have to go and support the other team.
Yeah, I can't do it.
So you're saying you'd rather have your team never win a trophy or a piece of silverware, and
Yep.
you'd support them still.
Yep.
Connor?
Well, I mean, if I go to Orlando anyway, they're probably not winning a trophy anytime soon anyway.
Exactly.
So, I'd rather watch Atlanta rather than have to watch, I don't know, more Yoshi Yotun.
Yep, I am in agreement with you guys. I could never support City. It would boil my blood until I died. And since I'm already 10 years deep into disappointment in trophies, what's another 100, right? So
I mean, you watch Everton too, so
God,
how's that
don't remind
going?
me. And the Jets and the Rangers and the Mets and
Exactly.
yeah, my sports life is dull, man. But that is our show today, guys. Thank you all for listening. If you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a subscription on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. And I guess follow us wherever you get your podcasts. I know you can follow iTunes playlists or Spotify playlists, so go ahead and do that too so you know when we're uploading these. We're still posting videos every day, so keep an eye out for those on YouTube. And guys, any parting words?
Leave score predictions. Do this along with us. See, we hear a lot of talk about, oh, you guys, we're better than you. Prove it. We have 90 people in our fantasy league, but leave comments on the YouTube video of score predictions, and we'll try to keep track of them.
Yep, we've got people who are saying they're better than us, and hey, listen, there are 4 of you who are not better than Connor. All right, you guys got to get better.
One of them's my cousin, so I can tell you that right now.
That's something we need to mention is that when we were talking about where we were placing in the fantasy league, I am in 37th above Adam, who is in 40th,
42nd.
42nd. And Connor is an 86th out of 90. So,
Yeah,
It's just setting up the comeback. I gotta give you guys a chance.
I
exactly.
also noticed I've been turning my body this entire time, and my Red Bull wall has gone out of focus. So I literally ended up facing the other direction. That's mad.
Just like the back line is.
All right, guys. So thanks again for listening. Again, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts: YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Send us emails. And until next time, we'll see you next time on the next episode of the Designated Players Podcast.